Hi everyone, my name is Jon Bey. I am the CEO of Standard Uranium. We are a Canadian junior uranium exploration company focused in the Athabasca Basin of Saskatchewan, going after our flagship Davidson River project this year.
John, good to see you, man.
Good to see you too, Matt.
We're here in Quebec. Nice conference, looks busy. Definitely apologise for the sounds outside here. But anyway, I wanted to catch up. Okay, raised a bit of money.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, we announced we wanted to raise $500,000.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we're going to put out news that we doubled that, closed on $1 million. So the response has been good. Now this was not a large capital raise. It was more of a small raise to get some people positioned into the company.
Okay.
And we were very successful in doing that.
Okay. Like who? What are you trying to get in there?
Well, what we did in the last 3 months was we moved our corporate back-end office to a group called the Jasper Group in Vancouver. Right. That's run by a gentleman named Gord Keep and his team there.
Yeah.
Pretty well known in the mining space. Yeah. So we brought on a new corporate secretary, a new CFO, and we've really started to strengthen our focus that way.
Tidying things up. Good. Yeah. Like it. I do want to talk about Davidson River primarily because I think you're getting back in there. The market seems to be a bit more receptive to exploration again, which is nice to see. Yeah. But let's talk about the kind of, are we going prospect generator model as well, which we talked about last time I saw you?
So we've become an exploration company plus a project generator. So in 2023, when the markets were really heating up in uranium, we had 13 projects in our portfolio. We were advancing all ourselves. So we were getting approached by a number of companies that wanted to work with us. So what we did was pivot to the project generator, and within 3 months we had 3 projects signed and dealed. Now these are kind of unique because what we do is we'll stake the project and we'll spend about 1.5 years advancing it, spending our own money, getting it ready. We will sign First Nations agreements, we'll get all the permits lined up, all the vendors lined up, and we have a team of 4 to 5 uranium geologists, and we operate the project. So we put it on a silver platter, they come to us with good people and cash, and we operate it for operator fee, and we take cash and shares and funds into the ground. So each deal is between $5 and $8 million towards the company.
And I understand the who, but what type of companies have you appealed to?
Yeah, so in 2023 it was junior exploration companies that were pivoting out of lithium or other sectors looking to get into uranium. And then when uranium was took that 2024 year on the downturn, a couple of those companies didn't do so well and they kind of went broke. So we got those projects back, and now we're putting those back into hands of new companies. So we just announced another deal in our Corvo project just recently with a company called Vital Battery Metals, which is now called Aventus Energy. They just changed their name. And we've got another 2 more deals we hope to complete in 2025 as well. So the project generator business is working well.
Talk to me about that, because I think, and again, sorry for the noise, folks, but we'll try to speak loudly here. It's really important to pick the right partner, right? Because they got to have cash.
Yes.
Got to be able to advance it. They don't necessarily. Would you prefer it if they actually have some uranium knowledge themselves, or because you run it, it makes less?
Well, of course that's beneficial if they know what they're doing and talking about. But our team is very sharp, so we can explain it to them what we're doing, why we're doing it. We form like a joint venture group that sort of makes decisions with us, showing them what we want to do, and they approve it. The kind of companies we're looking for are guys that we hope are going to be around for several years, that continue to fund and keep going forward, and of course good people to work with. Yeah. Now, when times are tight, you take what you can get. When times get more robust, like they're starting to again, we're looking for companies that we've got a little bit more faith in, companies that we know a bit better, and then we'll go. Now, one of the unique things is, if a company goes broke and they walk away, we get 100% of the project back. So they have to complete all 3 years to get their JV, and if they don't, we get it back, and then we've got more data, we've learned from it, and we're in a good spot, so it works out well.
So a bit more of that this year. I know you set it up when, the market was harder, and now it's getting better, but would you kind of keep that as part of the armour, you think, going forward? Do more of this project generation stuff?
Well, yes,
because you've got that massive, the east side of the basin, you got a lot of projects. So,
look, I'm going to keep saying this. We're going to focus on Davidson River, and we want to keep our geologists focused there. We can manage taking on 3 or 4 probably project generators before we have to staff up some more. So our team now can handle 3 or 4, and if we get 5 or 6 done, then we'll hire some more geos to join our team.
Right. Okay. So I guess in these must, and I guess with capital in the bank, you got a bit more optionality, choices around timing, etc. Okay. Fair enough.
And the good thing about these projects is, like if you sign a deal with one of these companies companies for a 3-year earn-in, which they typically are, it allows us to ramp up our staff, and everything's paid for. It covers all our G&A, it covers all our exploration work, it covers all the work with the First Nations, so they're basically standalone, so that's nice.
Right, okay. I'll park that up. I'll go to Sundog before I come down. Yes. Say Sundog, any movement there? What's happening there?
Yeah, so our Sundog project is partnering with a group called Arrow Energy, run by Galen McNamara, so they've gone into year 2. So we completed year 1 last year with a nice drill program, had some good uranium success, not a home run, but some good numbers there. We went and did some more geophysics in January, and now we're lined up to do a 2nd-year drill program. Okay. Now that's, we need Arrow Energy to come back to us with the capital, so I know they're going to have to go raise some more, and if they do, we'll be drilling that again later this year.
Okay, right, we'll definitely close that off now. Okay, Davidson, you got to get, you've been out there a while, you started, you had to slow it down a bit, and now you're going after it again. Yeah. What's the plan?
So the plan is, we started that one, we built the company around Davidson River. So that was back in 2018 as a private company. Yeah. We took the company public in 2020 and we started drilling it. So we brought on Sean Hilliker in 2020, did our first drill program. We've done 5 programs, about 16,000 meters, getting great. When the first problem was we weren't sure if there were any conductive structures through that program, so we really need to prove that out. We did the geophysics, and then we started drilling it, and what we found were those rock types were very similar to the rock formations over at NextGen's Arrow project. And that's where Sean came from, right? Sean did 7 years at NextGen, did his master's degree on the Arrow deposit, so having him on our project, looking at the rocks, telling us, this looks phenomenal, let's keep going. So now we're vectoring in further and further. And the goal now is to go back in 2025, 3 years since our last program, with more data. And we brought on a group called Fleet Space. You probably heard of Fleet Space. They're an Australian group. They do, the big thing is the ANT surveys, plus we're doing a multi-physics survey, which is 3 or 4 more surveys on top of just the ANT. Putting it all together, it allows us to sort of use some gravity to see through some of the overburden, and it's going to give our geologists another, vectoring layer to sort of pinpoint our drill target. So that's happening right now. We started that about a week ago. Okay. We're going to finish the ANT and the other surveys probably by the end of June into early July, and then we'll have 2 or 3 weeks to get those targets all identified, do all our mapping, get those what it's going to look like for our geos, and then we're going to start drilling. So the goal is Davidson River, August and September. Hopefully we have 2 rigs going and drill it.
So I get the magic word in this space is discovery, right? So you got to be able to make some kind of announcement at the end of this round of drilling.
Yeah,
I mean, look, making discoveries harder than it sounds for a start, but capital is limited. Capital is the secret sauce to all of this because how's your attitude changed in the last 3 years? Because when you first kind of set out, great expectations, market has dished out some harsh lessons to people. How do you treat capital? How do you treat the allocation of that capital? And given your project generator model over here, is there some kind of JV hybrid type model you looked at or could consider?
So you basically laid it out right there. It is a JV hybrid model. So the JV model allows us to keep cash flow coming in, cash and shares and operator fees, which keeps covers all our G&A for the company going forward. So for us, raising capital is extremely difficult right now. 2024 was brutal. 2025 has started off flat. It started to pick up now, so we are getting interest now. You can see our share price has gone from 5 cents to 14 cents today in the last month, which is great in the middle of a capital raise, which is even better. So we're seeing support come to the market. So for us, the capital we raise, it's all going to Davidson River, which is ideal. So if we talk to investors, we're raising capital, it's because we want to go back to Davidson River, we want to drill that, we want to make a high-grade discovery there. Okay. That's the home run.
But so talk about the best use of capital thing, because even more at this level, I always ask that question, people have got button raise money, 10 million, whatever, how do you spend your money? At this level, it is so important to get it right. We can't afford mistakes. So what's going to work? What's the market going to react to?
The market wants to see a discovery. I mean, if you put out drill results and it's not a discovery, they sell off. So you've got to come back with a discovery. And without that, you know where you're going to go, you're going to trickle back down again. So we're going to be very precise on where we're drilling. It's one of the reasons we haven't drilled in 3 years at Davidson River, because we just didn't have the data to really pinpoint where we wanted to put it. I have, Sean Haliker always talks about what we need to be able to make that discovery, and we want to be able to get that gravity data, as well as we know where the structures are, but we really want to vector in on where to put those next drill holes. And we think this ANT and the exosphere work is going to give us that silver bullet to really refine our targets and get into something juicy.
Where have they done that? Where else have they done that?
They've done it on the eastern side of the basin for uranium companies. So you see companies like, I think UEC was doing it, ISO Energy did it, I think Baseload, Sky Harbor, all in the eastern. We're the first company on the southwest side of the basin. So we're a test company, I guess, a guinea pig, and we're quite happy to do that. Well, we've been talking to Fleet Space and working with them for 6 months. They like our project a lot. They like our team. They want to work with us. So they came in and funded a big chunk of this, putting $500,000 into our company to get equity to drive this program forward, which looks fantastic. We believe in them. They believe in us, and we're going to work to make this happen. Yeah.
Okay, it's only been a month in. Trump is dishing out executive orders for fun at the moment, but it's kind of indicative of the intent with your southern partners, or southern neighbors, I should say. But that seems to be sort of rippling through the exploration companies at the moment. Yeah. Right? So,
well, we're seeing, look, when Trump came out with his executive orders last week and sort of said, look, we want to go 4x into nuclear and uranium build-outs and fast-track mines, the whole market had a pop. I think the market was up 15 to 20% across the uranium space. A lot of those companies have given that back, sort of trickled back down again, but we haven't. We're still moving upwards, which is nice to see. But what we're seeing is, the U.S. government is supportive of nuclear. They're supportive of building large nuclear, small modular reactors. Their new energy manager, Chris Wright, is, hey, we're all in nuclear. We really want to build this up. We want to quadruple where we are today by 2050. So those are all positive. And I think we're seeing, the tech companies coming in and buying, future power from some of these utilities in the U.S. is remarkable. Yeah. So we're going to see more and more of that.
So the guys down south are doing their bit for you. You and I are on a panel tomorrow, I believe.
Yes.
And we're talking about the Canadian critical minerals infrastructure, as in the team's got to get its act together, hasn't it? Certainly around uranium.
Yeah. Definitely, around all mining, really. I mean, uranium's a big part of that. I mean, we're looking at our next door neighbors, Next Gen Energy. I mean, they're in years and years of development and applications to get all their permits to finally build that mine and mill. And they got smacked again last year with the government saying, we'll come back and talk to you in about 9 or 10 months for your next interview. Like, that's unacceptable. So the government in Canada has got to get their stuff together and really work on helping these companies who want to move forward and helping the communities. The First Nations are the biggest people that are upset by this. Chief Teddy Clark was just pounding the table saying, get this project approved. We all want it. Everybody wants it. The environmental permits have been approved. The provincial's been approved. First Nations have been approved, and the federal government is kind of stalled on them. So we need to see the provincial, the federal, the First Nations all working together to move these projects at a pace that is we haven't seen on my lifetime anyway.
Yeah, and I agree with that, because I think the panel we're doing tomorrow is exploration, developer, and then we've got an engineering firm, Atkins Realis, and then we got a very large Canadian fund, a Canadian growth fund on there. Everyone's saying the same thing. It's not joined up at the moment. It needs to get joined up, and it needs to get joined up real quick. The new Canadian Premier seems to be talking the right language.
Yes.
Are you liking what's coming out of his mouth?
Yes, but do I believe it's going to be actionable? We'll see. I mean, if you follow Mark Carney's history going back a number of years, he was sort of, he wasn't strong anti-resource development. But now he's saying all the right things prior to the election. He wants to build, government and corridors across the whole country to move things faster, whether that's pipelines and advanced mining projects and exploration. He's saying the right things. Let's see what happens over the next 6-12 months. A lot of those things are very difficult to move on, so we're hoping some of these small steps will lead to bigger things, but it's going to be a process.
Right, okay. Come back to juniors. Uranium Juniors Canada. It feels like a good time for you guys, because we're seeing what's happening in Kazakhstan, China, Russia, especially with the Ukraine situation. We're seeing what's happening in Africa, a little bit of difficulty in Niger, should we say. Problems happening down in Namibia with Paladin. You've got, Deep Yellow saying we're not going to move till this incentive price gets there. So it feels more of this bifurcation thing is happening. It's real. There's North America, and then there's everyone else. How do you play in that?
Well, look, I look at it two ways, as a company and as an investor. So when I look at it from the investor's perspective, and you look at what's happened across the whole suite of junior exploration uranium companies over the past few years, if your market cap's under 100 million, your share price is really following what's happening in the spot price of the market, right? Which is fair, unfair, that's reality. So look, we need to see more things that are triggering the spot price to move up, for the whole sector to move up as a whole. Now, individually as a company, when we look at things, we've got to do things that are going to help drive investor to make profits. And we know for that, it's Davidson River. So everything we're doing is getting back to Davidson, having a drilling success. Even if the market is crap, if we have some good drill holes on Davidson, what we're trying to do is find that arrow 2.0 on our project across the road. And we believe the rocks are all there. We just need to pinpoint and make that discovery. And like F3 did 2 years ago, from 5 cents to $1 within 6 months. Next gen was 50 cents to 5 million to 5 billion kind of thing. That's what we're trying to duplicate. And with a good drill program that hits something high grade, and we can follow that up, that's where the shareholders of Standard are going to make money.
Good to see you, man.
You too.
Keep doing it. It feels like a good year for you guys.
Yeah, I think so. It's starting off very well. We're getting good support in the market. We're getting into a new audience of investors that like what we're doing, like how we're doing things behind the scenes, as well as advancing Davidson again.